right, welcome everyone to the Pipeline Podcast. We're here in the studio and we have three folks from our Houston shops. We've got Chelsea here, Lainey here, and Jude here.
Salute.
Salute. So thanks for coming in, everyone. We're going to start off. We want to get a little bit of background from each of you, and we'll start with you, Chelsea.
Sure. I am about to turn 37, and I just started this career about 3 months ago. This is a total shift from what I did before. Bounced around between grocery, specialty food, and restaurant, usually back of house. I was a line cook, the last job that I left before starting at DSI.
Okay.
But I've really been interested in construction and the trades since I was a little kid, helping my dad build our attic in one of our houses in upstate New York. And when I discovered trade apprenticeships in high school, I was super interested. I did this whole 10-year life plan as part of a class assignment for a college prep course. I put a lot of work into it. And when I told my career counselor, she basically laughed me out of her office. Said, if you're not going to college, you're going to fail, get out. So that really kind of took the wind out of my sails, and it took me a really long time to get the confidence to even apply again. When I was 30, I seriously started considering applying for the apprenticeship to get out of my current career path. And I was looking at the IBW.
Oh.
I ended up moving from California to Houston about 2 years ago, and I was on my way to the IBW. I think it's local 716.
Oh, down here
in Houston.
Okay.
I was actually on my way home, and I saw a billboard for local 211 pipe
really?
fitters. And I'm like, that pay scale's a little better than IBW. I think it was I think 716 is inside only, I think, for the IBW. So I went the next day with all my paperwork and applied.
To the 211?
To 211, yeah. They ended up inviting me to that 3-week course.
Okay.
This was in October of 24, and I fell in love with it. We got to play with tools. I got to stick weld for about 3 days.
Oh, so this is like a 3-week intro?
It is,
oh,
yeah, kind of like a boot camp, I guess you'd call it.
Okay.
And then I worked with our class worked with the HVAC instructor at 211. His name was Brian Grimes. I think he's in Austin now.
Okay.
But that was so cool. He was so nerdy, talking about all the different refrigerants and chemicals. And,
right?
Yeah, it was really, really fun. So we spent a whole week with him and got the EPA certification through that class for free.
Nice.
And OSHA 10, OSHA 8, one of those.
Yeah, there's several different.
Yeah.
Probably 10 might be
I think it was 10.
Yeah.
And so my interview was later that year, and they denied me. I had another one in 6 months, and that was a no.
Okay.
And another one in 6 months, and I think that was right after my car accident, so I
Okay.
wouldn't have hired me either. Having somebody in physical therapy for 6 more weeks.
Right.
And so my next interview is in July, next month.
Oh.
So with this 3 months of work experience with DSI, and just with everything I've been able to learn, I'm hoping to get in this time around and fully start my career path.
Okay.
That's awesome.
With local 211 and with the UA.
Okay. Let me see that picture because I'm going to hold it up to the camera.
It's just so cute.
This
couldn't
is
help myself.
a picture of Chelsea and her dad. I'll put it up here. We're probably going to scan this later just so we can actually put that on there.
It all started when.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It all started when. Yeah. Awesome.
That's a great story.
That's
Yeah,
fun, yeah.
it is. All right, so we're going to move over to Lainey has been designated the Novart Queen by Mr. Mike Nobles, so we're going to hear a little bit from you.
I'm 32. I'm from Brenham, Texas. So if y'all like Blue Ball ice cream,
Oh, yeah.
that is where it is made.
There
Nice.
you go.
Nobody ever hears about Brenham until they hear about Blue Ball.
Exactly.
So went to high school. I did a little bit of tack welding for theater sets.
Oh,
and
really?
I grew up on a farm, so stall tacking just with stick, nothing too crazy. Didn't
Okay.
really know what I was doing.
Okay.
And I just basically been doing like sawmills, lumber yards type deal. And
Really?
my now wife was like, you need a better career, something that has benefits that, will last you instead of just dead end jobs.
Right.
So I went to Tulsa Welding School for 9 months.
In Oklahoma, Tulsa?
No, here
Or-
in Houston.
oh, here in
Over off
Houston.
Of, Greens Point.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
good.
So that was a 9-month program. Basically, just teaches you the basics. And coming out of that, couldn't find work because I had no work experience.
Oh,
And
yeah.
one of my instructors told me about the union. So I
Ah.
applied, did our math test, and my first interview, Mike Nobles asked me to.
No
come
way.
on.
It was Mike.
He needed a TIG welder for tacking in the shop. So he hired me on the spot and been there ever since.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So, and where did you guys end up interviewing then?
At
Because
the-
like
at
you,
the hall.
oh, at the
Yeah,
hall.
Yeah,
in
it's
Deer
Gotcha.
Park.
part
Yeah.
of the hall, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, very good.
So,
All right,
been there
all
ever
right, Jude,
since.
you're up.
My name's Jude. I'm 36 from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Oh, nice.
So my mom decided that she wanted to live in a place and have some land, and uprooted us when I was a sophomore in high school. Moved to Montgomery, Texas,
Okay.
where I finished my high school career there. You know, I had kids young at an early age. My first one was born at 19. I'm a father to 4 now.
Wow.
So my experience into the trades was more of a necessity more than anything else. I worked in many different jobs. I used to repossess cars, lots of different things, lots of assembler work. I built pallet rack systems, did a lot of different things. So I got into building trailers for oil and gas, building like cold tubing units and twin cementers for Baker Hughes. And that's where I was first introduced to like welding.
Okay.
And I tried my hardest to get into welding there, and they would not get me in there. I was a mechanic and assembler on the 18-wheeler trailers, but I wanted to weld.
Oh.
So I was really bent on that. But didn't work out there, and like I said, my career moved around. I did a lot of different other things, and I was down on my luck and poor. I was still, at this point, I had 2 kids, lived with my mom, still me and my wife. Now we're still been married 18 years almost.
Nice. That's awesome.
So, yeah, we were living with my mom, you know, just trying to make it, young kids. It was in my early 20s, and my neighbor gave me a shot on the pipeline. He had to end, and he was like, felt bad for me and took me under his wing, and that was
Okay.
my foot in the door. I went out there as his helper, and he was a heavy equipment operator. They call him swamper. So I was his swamper. So I was his spotter pretty much on heavy equipment. Yeah, we ended up, we worked that job for about 3 weeks, and he got fired from
Oh,
there.
no.
From his mouth. So
From his mouth?
From his mouth, as one does, you know, in the blue collar business. So
Right.
he ended up getting fired, and I had little to nothing, but I had this job now, and they let me stay, which is also a rarity, because normally if your operator gets fired in that line of business, that you
You're
go with
out
them.
with them.
It's just you know.
Yeah.
So, but they liked me, and they let me stay. They made a place for me, and I finished that job out. And over the course of that, the guy that helped me out, he wound up in a bind financially. So I wound up buying his camper from him, and yeah, so it was a whole mess of events, you know. And by the time that job ended, he had found another job, but now he didn't have a camper to live in, so he in turn had to get me a job at that place. So that's the way that works, right? This is
Right.
networking.
Yes.
So he ended up getting me on at this other company, and I spent almost 10 years working for that company.
Wow.
So I hired out as a laborer there, and worked with the old man, and he kind of told me that, he's like, look, he's like, you're a labor hand here. He's like, what are you going to do if this oil and gas work dries up? He's like, in this life, you have 2 choices. He's like, you can either learn a trade or you can go to college. He's like, that's your only 2 options. He's like, if you're a laborer here, he's like, what are you going to do at the house if you have to go back home? There's not a, you know, he's like, if you learn a skilled trade, then you will always have a job. You'll always have something to go to, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a college degree, you know.
Right.
So at the time I was young, and I didn't have the time or money for college, you know. So I took a pay cut to be that man's helper, and spent the next year and a half working with him daily. That's an intimate relationship. The welder helper on pipeline is very intimate relationship. You ride together in his truck, you know what I mean? And you guys are like this 100% of the time. And it's, so yeah, that was my greatest mentor. You talked about that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy, his name is John Dunn. He's like a dad to me. He taught me everything I know.
That's awesome.
And over the course of about 5 years, I I became from nothing, as green as it could be,
Uh-huh.
to about 5 years in, he had pulled me all the way up to superintendent, where I was running the welders. So it was crazy. During COVID, when oil went negative and upside down, there was a big drop from there, and that's when I got into the union here.
Yeah, there was a term you commented about, so because Brian was asking you, like, how did you get into the union? Because you weren't, were you union when you were on the pipeline?
No,
You
that
were
was
not.
non-union.
So then, what was that process of going from non-union to union? Because you
Oh.
said something about there was some term or something that you used that sounded pretty funny.
Yeah, that's the book buyer
Or
term.
the book buyer, that's what it was.
Yeah. So, has happenstance. When I moved into a neighborhood, I bought a house, right, that I never would have been able to do without the trades.
Yeah.
So, and in this neighborhood that I lived in, my neighbor that I used to hang out, drink beer with on the weekends was none other than Chris Nobles, Mike's brother.
Yes.
There we go.
Small world.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yes.
So, we'd hang out on the weekends like normal when I was home, when I was in town,
Yeah.
And during COVID, so the whole thing that happened is that the company I worked for got bought out by a bigger company. And so at the time of that pipeline company, it had been like a mom and pop company the whole time. It was an older guy that owned it. Everything was done on pen and paper. And the man that taught me everything, he was the big boss, and he was used to doing everything on paper. The man did good to turn a computer on, he was just a good old welder fabricator. So in the shift of that, all the loyalties are gone. And at that time, they wanted to push him out and keep me there because I had taken over all the computer responsibilities.
Oh.
So because I could run the computer, he struggled to type, to turn on. He didn't know what he was doing. He kept getting caught by the phishing emails, and it was just, he really struggled with that. So
Right.
I ran the computer and did all the paperwork, did time, did the estimates, communication with the PMs. And then, so when the work got really slow, they wanted to let him go. And and they did it in a very disrespectful way and put me in a crazy position. You know what I mean? The man that had taught me everything for the last 7-8 years.
Right.
And they're trying to push me out. So I ended up having to leave. And this is during COVID. I elected to quit the job. They would not lay me off. And at the time, unemployment was super high. Would have been nice, but they would not lay me off. They told me that if I wanted out, that I was going to have to
You were gonna have
quit.
to quit.
And so I quit my job, and so that the man that taught me everything could keep his, And so,
Interesting.
yep, it was, at the time, like I said, I was young. I was like 30 years old, and, I seen him, and I'm like, I can do my trade still. You know what I mean? I'm young, and this is an older man, and it'd be, really hard on him to start over somewhere else and having to weld all over again. And I was like, as appreciation to him, I could just bounce back a lot easier. So I just bowed out of that, and then I didn't know what I was gonna do. And we were just sitting at the house drinking beer and messing around with Chris, and he's like, you can weld pretty good. He's like, you want a job over here? And man, I just opened up a whole nother can of worms. Like, thinking, I'm going down to 211 to the hall, and they gave me a test. I told them I could weld, so I had to do 2 tests. I had to do a stick and a TIG.
Oh.
So I had to do 2 different welding tests, and I passed both of them. And then I did my initiation fee, and so that's kind of how that works. That's why the term book buyer is, because then you have to pay to buy your book. It's like at the time it was like $250 you had to pay to buy your book, buy your way into the union as a journeyman.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that was my intro to DSI in 2020.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay. So Chelsea, let's pivot back to you, because you were kind of restaurant industry, which it's funny because Nobles made a comment, Mike. And then I was thinking about, like, when you were talking, Jude, it's like Mike hired her and then Chris kind of talked you into it. So now we just need a story
It's
from
almost-
Chelsea and
it's
another
al-
Nobles.
I have
It's
a little
almost
Noble
like
story
6
myself,
degrees to Kevin Bacon, except it's 4 degrees to Mike Nobles.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe that I forgot to mention that I'm a cheesemonger as well.
A cheesemonger?
Yes, that's
What
a
is
very
that?
interesting part of my history.
What's a cheesemonger?
Just a professional cheese seller.
Really?
Yeah, I've worked at several really good cheese shops. I had to leave one in Houston to start this job, which really broke my heart, but we're still really close. I go and visit her every weekend. But yeah, cutting and selling specialty cheese from all over the world.
Interesting.
Wow.
Super fun.
All right. So no, so because like Mike was telling us about how before he got into the trade, he was slinging pizza with his dad. Like
Yeah.
his dad had some pizza places, so that was kind of interesting. I'd never heard that, but sounds like you had kind of been involved in the restaurant area as well. I mean, obviously with the picture, your dad had introduced you to some DIY type stuff.
Exactly.
But then, like, what made you make that pivot? Because I know you've applied a couple of times, but like what made you, because your guidance counselor told you, nah, you're probably never going
That I
to
was
amount to
gonna
anything,
fail.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, here you are a few years later.
Well, now she's all in,
Right.
right? So,
But, like, how did you-
tell,
Yeah.
tell us how did you get to that where you were, hey, you know, this is it. I'm going for it.
Well, I think it happened during that 3-week class that they offered
Oh,
at
right.
the union for
Right.
sure. I had applied, and I think it was a few weeks later that they invited me to that class. And I'd always had a little bit of reservation, like, am I capable of this?
Sure.
You know, I've always done this kind of work before. Is it even possible for me to learn this again at my age? Because I'm a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
She's over here laughing. Like, he and I are way older.
Jude called me old on my first day.
Wow.
You remember that?
I do remember that.
Wow.
Funny story. We're the same age.
I know.
I did-
Same age.
exactly.
He's always calling me old. I'm like, you're older.
That's funny.
But where was I? So I fell in love with that class, and it just gave me that confidence. Having all of those like mentors at the union putting their time into
Right.
the next generation of fitters and welders and HVAC techs. And it just really inspired me. So I had a couple other options while I was waiting to get accepted that year and a half. I kind of had an in through to the millwright union, but I really liked, again, so much that class, and I wanted to do something on my own, right?
Okay.
So I focused really hard on 211. I'm so sorry. You had a question for me, and I'm rambling on.
No, we were just wondering, like, what kind of put you over the edge? Was it doing the 3-week class that you really made the, like Brian said, all in?
You
It
go
was. It
all
gave
in.
me. That's where I left off. It gave me that confidence, and in some ways, I am glad that I waited until I was around this age, because I was a little bit thin-skinned, you know, and just not. I don't think I would have been able to handle it if I had gotten in at 18.
Uh-oh.
You know, I don't think I
see a
would have
question
lasted
already
very
right there.
long. So working in the restaurant industry, which is in the kitchen, is also a male-dominated field. That
Oh.
toughens you up quite a bit.
Okay.
So I am glad that I waited until I was a little older. But yeah, it was definitely that class and getting to meet the union members and being a little bit more involved with 211
Okay.
that just kept me going. And then when I started at DSI on March 11th, I just immediately knew it was the right fit. So again,
And why
that
is
gave me
that?
more confidence?
I mean, more confidence, but what was it about it that said?
I just felt like I belonged, finally. You know, I don't like cooking for a living. It makes me miserable.
Yeah.
I love playing with cheese, but
Right,
the money's
yeah.
not very good.
I found that out too when I came to Dynamic Systems. It just I don't know if there's really words for that, but it's something about this organization and this company that I found a spot, and it's to me it is it's not. You know, some people dread waking up on Sunday or whatever because they have to go or going to bed at night on Sundays. They got to wake up. Not me. This is great. It's fun. You know. So
Yeah.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, I just feel like I have a space now, you know, and it's really nice being able to afford certain luxuries, like not have to worry about if I'm going to be able to fill up my gas tank,
Right.
You know, because there's not a lot of money in the restaurant industry either. So that's helpful. But I didn't even know how much I was getting paid when I started.
Oh,
I just
really?
knew how much I was going to be getting paid in 5 years. That was enough for me. I would have done it for free, to be honest with you. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we better edit that out.
man.
Right.
There goes your per diem.
Yeah, I needed so badly a path towards something better, and it just finally happened. So
That's
it feels
awesome.
really good.
All
Feels
right.
really good.
All right, Lainey, how about you? Like, you've been in it probably a little bit longer than Chelsea. You know, you've kind of come to know the Novarks a little bit more.
I've been with DSI for a little over a year now.
Okay.
So I started off as a tacker, and they pulled me off to go grind the tacks and move the pipe for the Novark runner at the time.
Oh.
And when I went to school, they had a mini robot, and I like robotics.
Oh.
So I just peppered the guy with questions, asked him, and eventually he taught me. And then it was him walking off, I'm running it. And then when he didn't want to run anymore, they let me do it. And I just progressively got better and better. And
So now
I
are you
run-
mainly running those?
I run one of them, and we
Okay.
have 3 others, and I supervise all of them.
Oh,
And
cool.
I've trained majority of all the people that run them.
So what have you seen? What's been the biggest difference now that you've kind of trained on it, you've operated it, you're training others?
Mhm.
What are you seeing and what that's doing to productivity?
It's increased quite
Really?
a bit. I mean, right now we're doing a lot of x-ray jobs, so that slows it down because we have to clean between each pass. But if you're just,
Oh.
rolling the pipe continuously, not having to stop, I do 400 plus inches a day.
Wow.
And they're getting better. I mean, when you first start, it's the more you run it, the better you get, because
Right.
you learn all the little tricks that
Uh-huh.
you might not get taught in class, or
Right.
maybe I not taught you. But the more you run it, the better you get. So they're catching up. But
So let me ask you all this question here. Did you ever think, looking back maybe just a couple years ago, that this would be something that you all would be doing? I mean, here we are running, and you're helping train a team on an AI welding machine, and
Nope.
you're you're embarking on skilled trades. And I mean, did you all think, a couple years ago, hey, was this even in your mind?
I was hoping that I would be at least working with the union at this point a couple years ago. But what I wasn't expecting is how I would progress so quickly and do really well. I actually just got moved to the new shop, the N5 shop,
Oh, the
to
N5.
run the pipe cutter over there.
Oh.
It feels like a little bit of a step up.
Yeah, you're a little like,
Right? Yeah.
Nice.
I've only been there 3 months. They're, first year, second year apprentices. They could have asked, and the fact that my name even came up, that's unimaginable to me. That made me feel really good.
Yeah.
So-
Nice. What about you, Lainey? Is this something you thought a couple years ago you'd be doing?
no, when I went to welding school, my plan was to get an RV and travel and
Oh,
travel
really?
welding.
Okay.
But I
Get a
couldn't-
traveler.
I
You're gonna get
couldn't-
it from Jude,
yeah,
right?
I couldn't get in anywhere though because I had no work experience. Just school.
Oh, right. That's right.
And,
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, they like to talk it up that you're certified in this. No, that's not how it works in the welding, and I learned that pretty quickly. So
Would you all say that the trades is affording you that opportunity as far as, getting, and I know that they say it's earn as you learn, but it's one of those things that where you are getting training in your specialty, but also it's that OJT or on the job training. I mean, that's a pretty good deal because you're getting 2 for 1, if you will, right?
it's about what you put into it. Like the more work you put into it, the better you get. The more opportunities you have. Like
I've often heard that from several people in the union, and that's the same when you go, I guess, to your school nights or whatever. When you go to the hall, I've heard a lot of people say that you get out of it what you put into it, and I think people will remember that, right? As far as the union program goes, when you're at the hall and you're doing your courses and job sites and stuff, because it is a fraternity, if you will, a brother and sisterhood, that you all look out for one another. Tell me a little bit about that as far as the camaraderie at the shop with your union members.
So this is my first experience with the unions, my first union job.
Okay.
So my only knowledge is about DSI at this point. But it's been great. I got so much help my first 3 or 4 weeks. I'd have a lot of fitters and welders be like, hey, welcome, and showing me a couple things, how to use certain tools or different ways of doing things. And I think they just noticed that I always came in with a good attitude, and I always put my best foot forward every day. So a lot of people appreciate that.
Yeah.
I started I call it back of house. It's a little remnant from my restaurant days.
Right.
Started in the back of house,
Yes.
cleaning fittings and cleaning pipe, and each fitter and they all kind of have their own way that they would like things done to save them time later on. So I had a lot of people coming up to teach me,
Oh, neat.
and yeah, just being really, really super welcoming. And we're all always looking out for each other safety wise. And yeah, so as for a first experience with the union, it's been wonderful, and a lot of togetherness, and yeah, it's just lovely.
What about Lainey? Explain or share with us about how the union has bolstered your camaraderie with your coworkers and even outside of DSI.
It's a pretty friendly group. I mean, it's mainly men, but I've worked in mostly manual labor jobs, so I've always had to deal with men.
Yeah.
This is the main pain in my butt. He's all jokes all the time. He gives you a hard time. But it's been pretty good. I mean, everybody's super friendly. We're serious when we need to be. We get stuff done.
Yep.
It's close knitted.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to work with a lot of different people doing different things. Like, they're constantly moving people around the shop. So you learn a lot of different things because nobody fits the same way, nobody tacks the same way, nobody
Right.
builds the same way. So everybody's a little different.
Yeah, I'm going to come up to you next, but I do have a comment based on what you just said, because when we talked to Billy immediately mentioned your name, and we're like, oh, okay. Because
What did I do?
No, he said that he said he's found that women are better welders than men. And I'm curious to get your feedback on that. But he just said you guys are able to focus way better than we are because we're scatterbrained, right?
I think
So
I think a lot of women in the trade really, really want to be there because we have a lot of barriers kind of to cross still.
yeah, right.
So I think we're just maybe a little more serious about it.
Mm.
But also, years ago, I had talked to a pilot. I ended up sitting next to him at a bar, was talking to this pilot, and he was talking about training other pilots who would do classes.
Oh.
And he said it was so much easier to teach women because we were more humble.
Oh,
We understood
really?
that we didn't know everything, and it's a constant learning cycle.
Yes.
Whereas you teach a couple things to a guy on a plane, he thinks he can fly around the world in the first day. I don't know how accurate that is, but I thought that was really funny.
So, Jude, I'm going to come back over to you because there was something Brian asked Chelsea and Lainey in terms of, like, you came from basically a non-union pipeline industry. You're coming into the pipe trade. You're part of a union now. So what is different about, what have you seen? Is it better, worse, coming from, you sound like, because you worked with a guy for 10 years, I think, your mentor, and you kind of stepped down to say, okay, I'm not, they won't can me, so I'm going to resign. And then Noble's Chris kind of talks to you about pipe and you come on board. So how have you seen that transition or adventure?
It was just a big learning curve. As far as the piping systems is mostly the same.
Oh, is that okay?
Right. So pipe is pipe. They give you drawings and you build the ISOs and what goes through it and everything. That's way above our pay grade. You know what I mean? At that point.
Yeah.
So I guess the main difference is the separation of the trades on this side. So whereas on pipeline where you have to be a welder and a fitter at the same time, and where fitters and welders are completely two different entities on this side of things, which was a bit of a culture shock for me. And they do, a lot of the QC QA is not what it is on the industrial side. Pipeline's managed by the Railroad Commission.
Okay.
There's a lot, there's x-ray, there's miles of paperwork, QC, everything is, they have a lot of rules.
Okay.
You're not to weld on the pipe at anywhere except for the weld zone. I mean, and here it's rather lawless. Doing the chill water systems is a lot more lenient than that side of things. So there was a lot of things that they were doing at first that it was a shock to me that I was trained that we were not allowed to do, and they were doing. So there was something that I had to get used to, the way that they, the difference in that, the aspect of that, and then other trades working on top of you. That's another crazy thing. In the field, you're in a building and you have drywallers, electricians, plumbers. This is like a sea of people, and there's one GC that's managing all these other trades, and you have to work together. Whereas pipeline, you guys all work for the same contractor, and there's one goal. You know what I mean? It's one piece of pipe, and it goes in the ground real easy. Lots of money, real easy. This is super complicated. There's stuff going everywhere. There's lines running everywhere. You have supplies and returns, and
Right.
you're building hangars out of the air, which I did not know how to do. And as a journeyman, when you're on the job and you tell me you don't know how to build hangars, yeah, this doesn't go over very well. That'll learn real fast. But I mean, you have no use for that outside, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, what have you found being part of a union now? Then have you found that there is a camaraderie, a brotherhood, or a sisterhood that you didn't have before? I mean, I kind of see a difference in the sense that in the pipeline, you're probably on a crew. So like you said, you guys are like this because you're riding with that person. So I could see you'd be pretty close to that. But have you found that being part of the pipe union now, that's brought some benefits to it?
I wouldn't say that the brotherhood is any stronger in the union. I
Okay.
would say that because I mean, you're welders, you look out for each other a lot. But the difference with the union is you have a lot more power. So instead of it's like you guys are two, on there you're on the outs. You mean you have no power. You're powerless. Even if when you band together, it's really not.
Yeah.
A non-union company will easily wipe the whole thing and hire new people.
Yeah,
I've
you don't
seen
have
it.
much leverage there.
You don't.
Okay.
And in the union, that's where the difference makes up is that you have more leverage.
Okay.
And then it's the theatrics of the politics, like anywhere you work, anywhere, you get to learn that. So that's fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'd like to talk a little bit more about what we do on a daily basis and some of the things that you continue to work on. What do you all do when you have? I call them roadblocks and obstacles and those things. And so, you talk about production and cranking out pipe, and we have to stay on schedule. So tell me, Lainey, tell me a little bit about how you do that and what are some things that people may not know or understand as far as production and how you can go about to make sure that things are working efficiently and I guess along the lines of productive and being productive.
It's a lot of organization because right now we're doing like 4 or 5 different jobs and everything has a different due date. So it's just prioritizing what needs to be done first and how fast we can do it. And if I need to switch mid job and switch to a different one, stuff like that. Organization.
So, I even noticed also in the shop that we do different colors on the pipe too, right?
I saw that too.
I think that's and that's just a simple technique, right? I mean, but it helps, right?
Immensely.
And keep things simple,
I
right?
go more so by the numbers. I'm slightly colorblind, so I don't really
Okay,
I
really?
don't look at the colors very much.
Okay.
I just look at the numbers, like what job it is, and that's how I go about it.
So is the color a designation for a system or is it really for a job? Or?
For a job.
It's for a
For
job.
a job.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've got both the number and the color.
So each job has a different color and a different number.
Okay.
The colors for our organization internally.
Oh.
That's how we separate what material goes to what. As far as like when everything gets delivered, if it's all delivered in a pile, you're not going to know what goes where. So we paint them so that we designate whose material is for what project.
Okay. And I think we saw some labels on some of them, or any. Or
Yeah, we do
Yes.
barcoding.
Yes.
and
Yeah,
whatnot.
there's barcoding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's more for like across the board as far as like, so it's beneficial for when we build stuff on Stratus for your fitters.
Right.
And then when it ships, you can
Yes.
they have QR codes and you can scan them
That's
in.
right. Okay.
So they know where the pieces are.
Exactly where it goes on what level, right?
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So that's an interesting follow up. I mean, if you want to follow back with either one on your question, we can go there. But it just prompted me to think about, like, you've probably been here long enough. I don't know if the two of you have with Stratus and kind of what's that done. Have you seen a big increase? Because I remember early on, it was like people were kind of like, no, I don't want to do that, right? But then they kind of now I think they're seeing some of the benefits.
Stratus to me is a double-edged sword almost.
Really?
So Stratus is really, really useful, but it's almost like the iteration of the smartphone, right? The more technologically involved you get, the less you rely on the tradespeople.
Oh.
And so this takes a lot away from them because Stratus is doing all the heavy lifting. Stratus is super beneficial for production and getting stuff done really quickly, but you also really handicapping your fitters at the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's become so involved now that it does all your measurements, takeoffs, everything for you. You don't have to think at all. It auto generates all that stuff. So
Interesting.
it's like I said, for speed
Right.
and production, it's ideal and it's
Right.
awesome.
Okay.
And then, but for, the betterment of the tradespeople, it's kind of,
Okay. Did you want to go back?
I was just say for Jude is, I completely agree. One of the things from my time in the Army was, we got all this technology now. We got GPSs, and we have, we can navigate with maps, Google Maps, and things. But I always told my soldiers that you still have to learn how to read a map, right?
Right.
And that's still important. We get advanced with technology and stuff, but we expect everyone to have their foundational skills. And you brought up a great point that, we still have, those are perishable, right? If we
Yes.
don't do them,
Yeah.
we could lose them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's a very important thing to point out, that we cannot lose sight of our foundational skills, even though we are leveraging technology to do things more efficient. You still have to do that, right? I mean, I think that's a great
Yes, sir.
point.
We had a project not too long ago where it came in and it was hand drawings. This is like a one-off. It was a small thing, and it was just one piece of fab that we were doing for a place down in Houston in the plant district. And I gave it to one of the best fitters that I have at the shop, and he was struggling with it, and I had to help him because he's not used to having to manually do all the takeoffs and the
read it,
drawings and the
do the
measurements. And now
takeoffs.
you're having to do the math, and so he was having I gave it to him as a test, just to see where he was at, because he's an apprentice, but he is one of the best fitters in the shop, so he's really good, and I like to, kind of find their weak spots. They'll tell you I do a lot of heart checks. I bully them. But it's just that's what makes you good. I think in this industry is that you have to want it.
Right.
If you're one of those people that just show up and just want your check and leave, you will never be as good as somebody that enjoys what they do.
Right.
And that's why we put Herd over the Novark over everyone else, was because of the want to. That's why I express that concern to Billy and Mike. It's like, you have these other guys that can do it, but they do not want to. She wants to. So you would be better to train her to do it because that's what she wants to do, and she will thrive in that. And the same with Chelsea. Chelsea was the same way. She came in and she wanted to do it. She wanted to perform. And so those people that want to do, those are the relationships. That's what you need to build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are going to be your core players.
Right.
It's all boils down to the want to. You cannot teach a want to into somebody.
That's very true. Yeah, you bring up something that reminded me from Randy Raymond, one of the founders. We were in a president's meeting in Austin, 8-9 years ago, probably. We're all sitting in a room. That was back when 50 or 60 people could fit in that downstairs conference room at South Lamar. So Randy gets up and says, guys, we're a construction company. We hang pipe and duct. We are not a technology company dabbling in construction. So that one always struck with me, right? Because it kind of goes back to what you're saying, is we have to, and kind of what you said, Jude, as well, is we want to use technology to help us, but we still can't replace that knowledge of being able to read a drawing, do a takeoff, and some other things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like the whole thing, It's like you're going to wind up with nothing. Like, they have to have a good theory of that's how the pyramids were made, It's like everything was digitized somehow and they lost it. And they're like, oh, man, I don't remember how to do that.
How'd this get here?
We ain't been able to figure it out since.
I had kind of an interesting thing I was thinking of bringing up if it did come up.
Sure.
Speaking of building the pyramids, I have always been really interested in physics, mathematics, science.
Oh.
There's a YouTube video online, an old one.
Yeah.
This guy named Wally Wallington.
Wally Wallington, okay.
He's a retired construction worker in Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
And he just is obsessed with moving large objects.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
So he decided he wanted to prove that ancient people could raise the Stonehenge by themselves using only their technology.
Right.
And he did it by himself, these 20-ton monoliths that he erected.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just reminded of that when I was reading through your questions, just like what are some of the the difficulties are things you enjoy doing, and sometimes we get to be creative in how we need to move things, right?
Yes.
And it's just a little bit of physics. It's but it keeps things interesting.
Yeah.
The problem solving aspect of the job.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that is a good thing. Interesting. Because one of the things I've noticed, and I'm wondering if you guys have noticed this same thing within DSI, right? Is okay, we were privately held, now we're part of Quanta, but I feel like they've done a great job of letting us operate. We have some compliance things that we have to follow now, but I feel like we just did this recent survey because we're trying to develop this leadership academy and his Quanta Craft Leadership, a QCL program as well. So one of the recurring themes I keep seeing is getting things done, right? So you're kind of touching on it, is you're solving problems, you're getting things done. So I'm wondering if you guys are seeing that within DSI as well.
I was really, really worried about this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been through one of these already where a company has changed hands. And it was, it was the same thing. Like in the beginning, they say, oh, this is going to be great for the company, and there's this and this and this, and nothing's going to change, and blah, blah. And it would just, as soon as the buyout was done and we spent a few years under them, they just started removing people and bringing their people in and changing everything and the way that things were done. And it was a mess. And that was, that ultimately led to my exit. So, I brought that concern up to Mike when we had the briefing that we were being bought. Go on, I was not excited about that. I was like, I've been through one of these before, and I was like, ooh, and it was not good. But this has been great. I mean, on our end, we almost don't notice. You know what I mean?
It's not much different.
Well, and you've probably seen some of that growth as well, because I'm telling you what,
and
I love it. They're challenging us, and they're pushing us to go do greater things, right? And I've heard the phrase from several people, and in administration, we have the saying, it's kind of like drinking through a fire hose right now, right?
Oh yeah.
But hey, this is great. I'll bring it on. I want to, I love it. Tell me about some of the challenges as far as you've seen from growth and production wise. How do you manage that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, the organization.
Yeah,
we ran into some problems with one of the first big jobs that we got with the organization of some of the smaller pieces of pipe we were cutting. Just the fitters couldn't find anything. The floor is covered with pipe.
Oh,
like,
really?
Where is this one job? So we had to fix that very quickly.
And how did you fix that?
We had a different color coding system with ribbons temporarily
okay.
for one specific job.
So they stood out more?
Exactly, so they stood out more. Everything got kind of put randomly on the floor, which is not a good idea.
There were multiple packages that were identical. So all the pieces were the same. And there were multiple packages. And so the floor was covered, and it was hard to figure out like what piece went to what package because they were all cut the same length on the ground. So it was chaos.
So we went through and Sean figured out how to just make a real quick fix for that, and then we stopped doing that in the future. Corrected the problem.
So, Jude, how do you manage personnel like that from when we've got such a fast growth rate and, if you will, production? How do you manage that?
Well, it's been a learning curve for all of us. As she was saying that we now have 13 different jobs running through the shop. This is the most that DSI's ever run through the Houston shop. And so all of us, Mike and Billy and all of us in the management side, we're all in uncharted waters. So we're all working together. We implement AI and run logistics and numbers, and we do every week. We run over the numbers of what gets done by everybody, and then we all sit down and have a meeting and talk about this and what can be changed and what needs to be helped, adding, subtracting of personnel and organization. It's largely a learning curve, and we're all just like you said. It's like drinking from a fire hose. We're inundated with fab. So when Quanta took over, we were all, there was like 3 of us that worked in that shop, I think, at the time.
Okay.
We were all working 40 hours. We had a couple 32-hour weeks. We're up to 7 days a week now.
Wow.
Running 13 jobs. We had almost nothing to do last year. This time last year, I think we laid.
Yeah, I got laid off.
We laid.
Oh, really?
Off. Yeah. We were really, really slow. So that's been another big difference with Quanta. I mean, we are so busy, and the
Yes.
purchasing power that we have now. I mean, the Novarks alone, those are not cheap units, and I
That's
don't.
right.
Yeah.
There's
So
4 of them now.
Yeah, we have 4.
yeah.
Yeah, you have 4, and Mike was telling us
Yeah,
that
the
we have
company, we've got, I think, about 14 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
They're helpful.
yeah, they are. They are. So, Lainey, when we talk about as managing production and stuff, so tell me about some of your biggest challenges. You're leading the, I guess, the development and the training of these systems. How do you manage, or how do you identify the individuals that are, hey, just like they pointed, she wants to do it, right? Because I've heard that before, and I've said this. We want people to do things because they want to, not because they have to, right? And so how do you do that, or how do you identify, hey, this person would be really great to come over here and learn this?
Typically, Mike will ask for volunteers who's interested in learning how
Okay.
to do it, and then he'll bring them to me. I'll train them for a couple weeks, see if they can comprehend like what to do, how to do it, and if I think they'd be a good fit or not. And we just go from there.
So do you get a pretty quick, can you get a pretty good sense of someone that may be good and maybe not so good?
The younger people get it faster because they
Oh.
grew up with like technology.
Right.
The older people, not so much. Like we had a helper that wanted to learn, and I was just kind of showing him the basics, and he could not fathom how like I was operating or how anything worked. And he always likes to joke that I play video games. That's why I'm so good at it, because you have a giant controller with 20 something different buttons. They each do something different, and you have secondary controls, and it's just learning the controls. And once you do that, it's muscle memory, and just like welding, watching the puddle, seeing like what you need to do to get the root in there and fill it up and things like that.
And the machine gets smarter based on you, right? It adapts to you as you
I run
maneuver it,
so
right?
we don't use the AI
Okay.
on the carbon steel side.
Okay.
Because mainly because the paint on the pipe doesn't read with the laser that the AI operates with. So we just don't use the AI. on
Okay.
it.
Oh.
Stainless steel does though, because
gotcha.
the pipe's not painted.
Oh,
So
right.
they use that more than we do.
Interesting. Okay.
So
Yeah, I did mention to Mike, I said the only thing short of those machines is there's no earphones and
Yeah.
headset, so you can play like video games where you're talking to somebody online, right? That's the only thing that's missing
A little
from that
bit.
system,
A
right?
little
You
bit.
know,
You
it's
could
got the
race against
toggles and
someone.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the other comment you had made about whether they should have developed those joysticks as a Xbox or a PS5 controller, right?
yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's closer to a PS5.
Closer to a PS5. So what, for people that are interested in the trade, like you're very new to it, you're fairly new
I'm a
to it.
second year apprentice.
Yeah, you're a second year apprentice. So if there were people, because we asked Mike this question, and I'm curious to get your feedback too. Someone that maybe still in high school, someone that just graduated high school, maybe someone that's even in college right now, may have just gotten a degree, but they're having trouble finding work. Like, what would you say to them if they were interested in a trade, in this trade?
I mean, community college has classes that you can take for welding. There's several schools that you can take throughout Houston. I mean, if you find like a neighbor or something that knows how to weld and teach you something, I mean, if you know a little something, you can learn more.
Okay.
I would say when I went to school, I thought I knew how to weld after I graduated. But it's
Really?
like the basics. Like I can, stick, TIG, and MIG. I know like the fundamentals on it,
Uh-huh.
but am I an expert? No. But it gets you into the door, and the union's pretty good about teaching. So
Okay.
Now you make good welds, right?
yes, I do.
They look good. You should see some of mine.
All right. What would you say to that, Chelsea?
I would just say to dive in if you
Okay.
want and give it a shot. It's never too late, right?
Yeah.
I've follow a lot of construction and trade subreddits, and they're a constant question about apprenticeships is, am I too old to do this? And they're like, no, man, I got an apprentice who's 55 years old right now. He's great.
Wow.
So I just say dive in. Like
Okay.
anything you can do to learn about it, read about it,
Uh-huh.
and just apply.
Yeah. All right.
Oprah wasn't famous till she was 40.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
It's never
Wow.
too late.
It's never too late.
All right, Jude, what would you say to that?
Along the same lines, my mentor told me, like you really got two options. You can either go to school or you can learn a skilled trade, and that's the two options you have to success in life.
Right.
I had another guy. He pointed it out to me. He's like, you're destined to stare at Excel spreadsheets the rest of your life, or inhale toxic fumes. He's like, so you got two options, and that's the only two options you got. So it's if you do like pursue the trades, I think the OTJ is the way to go. But I think the colleges and stuff are more of like a gimmick. Like she said, it would get your foot in the door if you have no background, but definitely joining one of the union halls would be the way to go. Like if I knew about this all the way over again, like she said, she wanted to work out of town, but you didn't have an in. You didn't know.
I didn't know anybody.
So
you had camper will travel, but no end.
The lot of the trade is who you know. I mean, a lot of this is who you know. A lot of the big projects, people are paying good money. You got to know somebody. You have to have a reputation. You have to have established relationships so that people can vet you, you know what I mean, and you can get into these projects. And that's really hard to do coming straight out of high school. And the union is a good segue into that, where they can take you in, you can make money at the same time. You don't have to pay for the school. You're not out $30,000 to go one of these big name welding schools in which you learn almost nothing. So the union is definitely the far better way to go. And if I could do it all over again, I would definitely do that. But I would lean more towards one of the union halls that give you a state licensure. That's one of the things that they don't tell you about the pipe fitting aspect. It's great, but it's a single use trade, right? So pipe fitting is only like heavy commercial and industrial, right? Whereas like if you become HVAC or plumbing or electrician, well, that is a wide door, and those three all have state licensure, which you will get through the union hall. And this opens up a lot more opportunities for you. So you know what I mean? Anybody can be a pipe fitter because it doesn't require a state licensure. So you can be a plumber with a state license and still fit pipe if that's what you want to do. But you always have that state license. Right. And I think that's one of the downfalls of this particular trade is that we are the outcasts. We are the only ones that are not given that platform. We don't have a state licensure. We don't have any, we have nothing to show for this, and that's one of the biggest downfalls, I think.
So that's what you're saying. It's one of the benefits of being in a union is having that state licensure.
Yes. Well, even in the unions you can get them. So, but even in the pipe fitting you get nothing.
Yeah, that skill pipe fitters. There's not a state licensure, but there is for.
So there's an electrician union.
Yes.
Yep.
And there's a plumbing union. Yeah. And there's a pipe fitter union.
Right.
And then even in the pipe fitter union, we're with the HVAC. So the HVAC is state licensed.
Yeah.
Oh.
But if you go for solely pipe fitter, then you will have no state license.
Oh.
So, and because it's not required to be a pipe fitter, But like I said, if you just.
It'd be nice to get that.
Right. It's just one extra blanket of security. If I had to give advice to young people, that's the route I would get. You're going to have to do something that gives you a licensure. So you always have, any way that you can have a tangible certificate in life is that's just one more leg up you have, And if times get tough on the, if you we all know it's the ebb and flow of construction. It's the up and down. It's feast or famine, and oil and gas especially is volatile. And this has been, a roller coaster. Like I said, we had to lay her off last year, and this year we're booming.
Right.
So you never know where it's going to bring you. And if you have a state licensure in plumbing, electrician, or HVAC, there's always a residential market that you can tap into in those cases where you can't make any money. So you always have a way and out to feed your family that way.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's something I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'd actually really like to be involved with the union in like youth outreach and that sort of thing, because I never got that. I had to find out about this program on my own through Google, and kind of just try to slowly, year by year, fight my way towards it.
Right. Well, in a way, you're kind of participating today, because that's kind of what one of our goals was to get this out there, the fact that, hey, the trades can be a good career, right? Kind of like Mike said it. I think one of you said it as well. I think it was you, Jude, that you were saying like you had the two options, right? You can go to school or go into a trade. And
Mm-hmm.
going to school can mean whether it's welding school or a regular 4-year degree, that could be $120,000 that you're in the hole, right?
And like she said, like union's the best kept secret on the planet.
Yep.
I had no idea it existed until
Same.
I met Chris Nobles, and I got in when I was like 30 years old.
Right.
I had no idea that there was such a thing, and I think they could benefit a lot from doing the more marketing and hitting the high school market and getting to
Yes.
the younger people and showing them they have options. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's really like. No, but it's not out there. The information's not there. You almost have to know a union member to know about the union.
That's
Right.
how I found out. One of my instructors at the school was part of the union before he became an instructor there. And he was like, well, if you can't find a job, try the union. So I went through all the hoops and got in.
I think there's a really big misconception about the trades in like the intellectual groups of people where you think if you have a job in the trades, you get dirty, it's filled with a bunch of meatheads who don't have any other options.
Right.
And it's very much an intellectual job. And the fact that people think that is frankly really insulting. People are like, why do you want to do that? And I'm like, because I get to use my brain every day.
Right.
You know, I don't have to sit in front of a computer. So, yeah, I think that just a lot of people don't know that it is a very, very viable career that needs a lot of very well-educated people.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is it's a very lucrative career. It can be, depending on what you want to do with it. I mean, on the pipeline side, I was easily breaking 200K a year.
Wow.
Easily. So there's all different levels to the money that can be made in this business, and you can be highly successful. It's just what you want to put into it and what you're willing to do.
And I will tell you that every one of us has sat around this table today and reaffirmed the importance of trades, men and women, right? It's not going away,
Yeah.
right? And whatever we can do to help to promote programs and educate individuals about how to get involved in skilled labor and unions and things. I think that's part of what this message is today. So, whatever we can do as a company to help do that, we'll continue to do that. And, we hopefully people will see this podcast and hear this podcast and spread the message, help us spread the message of skilled labor, and it is important. And there's great opportunities, and not everybody goes off to a university, not everybody goes directly into the workforce, and there's a place for everybody. And some people, it just takes them a little bit of time to find it, right? But when you find it, you're in the right spot. And so I think this is a great thing, and I appreciate all that you do. If it wasn't for you all and our workers, I wouldn't have a job. So I'm very thankful for that. And I can relate to what you mean about, people after school. I went direct, like I said, into the military, and sometimes people think, oh, he just couldn't make it in life. He's just going to go join the service, right? So I felt that way and understand it. But, I found out that they were wrong, So I can understand how you all go through some of that as well, and how things are viewed. But it's very important. Skilled labor is very important. It's not going away.
No.
Oh yeah.
Right.
When I got into it, my mentor, he told me when I was young, when I was a helper, he's like, told me, boy, he's like, maybe not in my lifetime. He's like, but in yours, he's like, you'll be able to name your price to build stuff. He's like, because ain't nobody doing it anymore.
Right.
He's like, nobody wants to put their hands on anything. And I thought he was just crazy. I was in my early 20s. I was like, whatever, guy. And now I'm seeing it come to fruition. Like the wages have climbed exponentially. I think the journeyman wages when I got in was like 35 in 2020. Here we are 6 later, and now entry level is 4209. So it is climbing at a rate that is just insane, and it just keeps going up. And I just don't know where it's going to stop. We'll be the new branch of hot top earners. This will be the way to go.
Yeah, that was something Mike touched on, was how competitive it's become because there is so much work out there and how they're offering, hey, if you'll come over here, I can give you a little bit above scale type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely see that happening.
Well, certainly that's what brought him from the Valley to San Antonio.
That's right. Yeah, because he went
The
from Harlingen.
rate
Yeah.
was-
Yeah.
He said
The rate in
Harlingen was here.
Harlingen, yeah.
San Antonio was up here.
Yeah, he said that was a no-brainer, sign me up. So,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Right.
speaking of Mike Nobles, I was so surprised when he actually personally wrote me a letter of recommendation.
Oh, that's right. He
Apprenticeship.
was telling us that.
I did not really think that someone so high up in the company would be watching me, the very bottom rung. And I guess he was just really impressed with my performance. And again, this is my 4th time interviewing. So I'm
Right.
just starting to feel a little bit more confident.
Right.
I might get in this time. But yeah, just what an awesome guy. I feel so lucky that this was my first job call through
Yeah.
the union. Just very lucky.
So you kind of opened the door to what I feel like might be the last question. And I was going to ask like what you guys have found working for DSI or working for a mechanical sub. You're sort of going there right with that answer. So is there anything else that you would add to that?
About DSI.
Yeah, just either
company?
working for a mechanical sub, because you've kind of talked about what brought you into the trade, but what is it that you like about DSI or like about working in the trade?
I mean, the money. The money's
All right,
great.
that's good. That's all.
The money's great. The people's great, and just the on-the-job training is really incredible. I've learned so much in just 3 months.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Awesome. How about you, Lainey?
Pretty much what she said. And there's like always room for growth. Like if you're willing to learn to do something, there's plenty of people that would teach you. Like he got me really better at TIG when I first started. I could barely put a tack in, and he worked with me quite a bit for my TIG tests.
Okay.
So I mean, there's lots of opportunity for growth, and it's an easy. I mean, not easy job. But like, it's an easy going job. Like the people are nice. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy to get along with everybody.
Okay.
You don't wake up with anxiety in the morning, like, oh, I have to go to work and deal with all these jobs.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
nice in that department.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think it's easier than working in the kitchen too. Frankly, my
Oh.
full-time job before this was at a brewery in Houston, working as a line cook,
Oh.
and I was just destroyed after an
That
8-hour
sounds like a
shift.
lot of work.
And I can work a 12-hour shift here, and I'm just popping out the door with a smile on my face.
Right.
Yeah, it's incredible.
All right. How about you, Jude?
Really, the biggest thing for me, I would say, is the stability here. That's the big thing. So coming from the oil and gas industry, it's volatile, and I've had 12 W-2s in a year. It's just it's how it is. And then, but I mean, there's a lot of stability, and like she said, there's lots of room for growth.
Yes.
And if you're willing to put forth some effort in here, they will see it, and they will reward you in that aspect. I hired out so me and DSI have had a back and forth relationship. I've worked for DSI. I've done the new hire orientation 4 times. So
You're a pro.
yeah, I've came and gone a few times. We've had ins and outs. So I've come back and forth over the course of 6 years now, 2020.
Yeah.
And so this last time I hired out in 2024, the end of 2024, December 2024. And then, I decided this time that, I keep coming back here. So I'm going to stay here.
Right.
So I put all my eggs in one basket, and I was like, I sold my welding truck so that I would not have any temptations to be
Dabbling.
dabbling on anything else, which was was difficult to do. But I knew that if I didn't do it, then I would really not. You got to jump in with both feet sometimes. You know what I mean? Really commit to something. And so that's what I did. And I told Mike, I'm committed to this. And I hired out as a fitter this time. All previous times I'd always been a welder. This time I hired out as a fitter.
Okay.
And I was the main fitter for the Novart. So I was the only fitter for the Novart. So I fit for the machine.
Okay.
So that's where I got my start on that. And then when we got slow, they started laying everybody off, and people were disappearing. And then next thing you know, they're coming to me and they're like, hey, we want to move you up in the company. And so then it snowballed from there. It really took off. I went to foreman, and now General Foreman. Now I'm over the whole entire shop. So it's snowballed fast once you decide you're going to buckle in and dedicate yourself. And Mike had told me, he's like, I always thought more of you and that you could do more. He's like, but I just never know if Jude was going to be at work on Monday or not. And I was like, fair, fair enough.
Right.
Yeah,
you've kind of divested yourself of the camper, the welding truck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. You got anything else you want to?
No, I just appreciate everybody's time, and I thank you all for what you do, and sharing your stories.
Yes.
And your experiences means a lot to me personally, but also professionally. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having us.
Thank you
Thanks
for
having
being
us.
here. It's been awesome speaking, meeting with each of you. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Subscribe or like on all the different platforms that you get it, and we'll see you next time.